What if the very first thing you do, every single morning, before you even say a word to another human being, is slowly teaching your dog that you cannot be trusted? Not in a dramatic way, not in a loud or abusive way, but in the quiet, invisible way that eventually turns into a dog that flinches when you reach for them. A dog that stops coming when you call. A dog that sits just far enough away that you can't quite touch them. If you share your life with a dog, you need to hear this, because most of what quietly destroys the bond between a dog and their owner doesn't look like neglect. It looks like a normal Tuesday. It looks like love, playtime, and cuddles. It looks like a life your dog should be grateful for. And that is exactly what makes these mistakes so dangerous. You are never going to fix something you do not know is broken. There are 6 habits we are breaking down today. Some of them you are probably doing right now. At least one of them you are doing multiple times a day without realizing it. By the time we reach number 6, the invisible language, you are going to understand why your dog has been trying to warn you about this the entire time. First, we have to talk about the myth of the dog hug. Imagine this. You come home after a grueling day. Your dog is lying on the couch, half asleep, completely relaxed. Because you love them and you've missed them, you walk straight over, sit down, and wrap your arms around them. They stiffen slightly. Maybe they lick their lips once. Maybe they look away. But they let you do it. So you think they're fine. They were not fine. Here is the biological reality. Dogs did not evolve as animals that hug. In the canine world, placing a limb or body weight over another dog is almost always a social signal of pressure, dominance, or a threat. When you wrap your arms around your dog, their brain isn't reading the word love. It's reading constraint. It's reading trap. A landmark study analyzing over 250 photographs of people hugging their dogs found that in the vast majority of cases, the dogs were displaying clear stress signals, ears pinned back, whale eye where you see the whites of their eyes, lowered heads, and lip licking. The owners in these photos were smiling, completely unaware that their best friend was screaming for space in a language they didn't understand. Every time your dog communicates discomfort and receives more of the same affection in return, they learn that their signals don't matter. And a dog that believes their signals don't matter is a dog that eventually stops warning you before they react. This leads us directly into the second silent bond killer, the training shadow. This is the use of punishment, even the mild kind we think is harmless. How many times have you used a sharp no, pushed your dog's nose toward a mess, or used a spray bottle? It feels like communication. You think you're teaching them a lesson. You are, just not the one you think. Dogs learn through association above all else. When something unpleasant happens, they don't always connect the discomfort to the behavior. They connect it to the most prominent thing in the room, you. Research from the University of Porto found that dogs trained with even mild aversive methods showed significantly higher cortisol levels and, more importantly, a more pessimistic cognitive bias. In plain English, those dogs were more anxious and less trusting of their humans. It's not the big moments of anger that do the most damage. It's the repeated sharpness in your voice when they pull on the leash, or the low-level frustration you radiate every day. If your dog looks like they're walking on eggshells, or if they perform commands with a tucked tail and no joy, you haven't built a partnership. You've built a dictatorship. But trust isn't just about what you do to them. It's about what you provide for them. This brings us to the third habit, the shortcut trap. We need to be honest. A 10-minute walk around the block is not exercise for a dog. It's a bathroom break. When a dog's physical and mental needs aren't met, they don't just get bored. They enter a state of biological survival. Our dogs are built to move. Depending on the breed, they need 45 minutes to 2 hours of genuine physical effort. Not strolling, but movement that raises the heart rate and engages the muscles. When that doesn't happen, the nervous system stays wound up. Stress hormones that were supposed to be discharged through movement stay trapped in the body. They come out as chewing, barking, restlessness, and bad behavior. But it's not a behavioral problem. It's a healthy dog in a body that is begging for release. More importantly, shared exercise is the foundation of your bond. A dog that runs with you, explores with you, and conquers the world with you looks at you as the center of their universe. Without it, you're just the person who holds the leash and denies them the world. Fourth, we have to look at the changing goalposts, the inconsistency of rules. Does your dog have rules that change based on your mood? Are they allowed on the couch on Friday night, but scolded for it on Monday morning when you're in a hurry? Can they jump on you when you're in gym clothes, but get pushed away when you're dressed for a meeting? To you, this is flexibility. To your dog, it is chaos. Dogs lack the cognitive ability to understand context like humans do. They can't reason that the good shirt means no jumping. They experience a world where the same behavior produces completely unpredictable results. Unpredictability for a social animal is the definition of stress. A dog in an inconsistent home lives in a constant state of low-level anxiety, trying to solve a puzzle that has no solution. The fix isn't perfection, as it's alignment. When the rules are predictable, your dog's nervous system finally relaxes, not because they got what they wanted, but because the world finally makes sense. That clarity is what makes you someone safe to follow. Fifth is the most subtle mistake of all, misreading frenzy for happiness. We have been culturally conditioned to believe that a dog jumping, spinning, and losing its mind when we walk through the door is the peak of love. It's an addictive feeling for us, but physiologically it's a disaster for them. When a dog reaches that frenzied pitch, their thinking brain, the prefrontal cortex, goes offline. They're in a state of total sympathetic nervous system activation. This is the same system responsible for fight or flight. And a dog that regularly lives in this hyper-aroused state has a harder time controlling their impulses and learning new things. The most loving thing you can do when you walk through the door isn't to match their chaos. It's to be the calm center of their storm. Move slowly. Speak quietly. Wait for them to settle before you engage. A dog that learns that calm is what brings your attention is a dog that finally finds peace. The happy dog isn't the one spinning in circles. It's the one lying contentedly at your feet, trusting that you are the source of stability, not just another source of noise. Finally, we reach number 6, the silent language. This is the habit that almost every owner fails at every single day. Your dog is talking to you constantly. not with barks, but with a rich or precise language of calming signals. When your dog yawns while you're talking to them, they aren't bored, they are trying to de-escalate your energy. When they suddenly stop to sniff the ground during a tense moment, that is a stress displacement. When they lick their lips, look away, or perform a shake-off, even though they aren't wet, those are words. Ethologists have identified over 30 of these signals. Most owners only know 2. The cost of this language barrier is devastating. When a dog communicates that they are overwhelmed or uncomfortable, and that message is consistently ignored, the relationship shifts. The dog learns that trying to talk to you doesn't work. So they stop trying. The warning signals disappear. This doesn't mean the dog is well behaved. It means the dog is living in quiet defeat. They look fine on the surface, but they have disconnected from the person they love most. A 2020 study showed that dogs whose owners actually responded to these subtle signals had significantly lower stress levels and measurably stronger social bonds. The partnership between humans and dogs is one of the oldest in history. Tens of thousands of years of coevolution have wired your dog to want to trust you. That trust is a gift, but it isn't indestructible. It isn't maintained by the big things, but by the small, daily choices you make. It's about learning to hear with your eyes. It's about respecting their boundaries, even when they can't speak for themselves. The 6 habits we covered: forcing affection, using punishment, under-exercising, inconsistent rules, misreading excitement, and missing their signals, they aren't crimes. They are mistakes born of a lack of information. But now that you know, you have the power to change the narrative. You can shift the relationship from one your dog simply endures to one they choose freely every single day. It starts the very next time your dog looks at you. Don't just look back. Listen. Because the moment you start listening, the bond you've always wanted finally begins.